What's up, guys? Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how wide receivers should be watching film, structuring their plan off the line of scrimmage, and how you guys can read defenses. So what we're going to do is this is exactly what you guys should be doing when you're watching film on your own, and we're going to walk you through it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you guys two specific routes that we are going to be focusing on, or actually three specific routes, excuse me. So the three routes we're going to be emphasizing are a slant, a corner, and a 10-yard out. Okay, so now those three routes, what you want to do as a wide receiver when you watch film is that when you're watching a film of another team, another DB that you're going up against, you want to be taking notes on what they like to come out in, obviously, right? So like, are they 90% of the time, are they in cover four? And 50% of the time, are they in press man, inside shade, press man, head up? What are his tendencies and what does he like to do? That's what you guys have to know. Now, going into every single week as a wide receiver, you got to know the scouting report. You got to know that I'm working these probably 5 to 6 different routes, and how am I going to structure my plan against the coverages that I've seen throughout this film that I've studied, right? And so that's what we're going to be walking you through today. So we're going to be giving you 3 specific DB looks, and we're going to walk you through all 3 of those routes and how you guys would work those, okay? So I hope this helps you guys out. If you guys have any kind of video feedback or any kind of content you'd like to see next, don't hesitate to leave that in the comment section below, fellas. So now, first example here. So let's start with a slant route, right? A 3-step slant. And not all of these routes are going to be actually ran like that, but some of them are. So 3-step slant, and I got this DB. What kind of coverage is this? What kind of leverage is it? That's how you guys want to think of this, right? So he's going to be a head up. That's what we would call this, right? He's not to a specific shade. Maybe he's a little bit inside shade, but he's not way inside shade and he's not way outside shade. So he's head up like this. So we could pretty much anticipate, okay, this is man coverage. And why? Why else is it man coverage? Because his eyes are on me. His eyes are looking at me. That's how we have to understand this. So now, eyes are looking at me, squatted stance, head up. I have to run a slant. So I know that based on man coverage, like he could either be outside leverage or he could be trying to force me inside. Maybe he has safety up or he could be trying to force me outside. And that's why as a receiver, we have to read the coverage. So let's say, for example, that there's one high safety over there, right? So maybe he's trying to force me inside. Maybe if I go at him and I kind of impatient with my release, he widens a little bit and then I go take the slant route. So these are the things that you have to pick up on film. How does he like to play? So let's say he likes to play outside leverage. So if I have to run a slant route, what do you think is something you could do here? Do you think you'd want to do a diamond release and attack the outside, get his hips to flip and then go? No, because he's not inside shade. He's not going to let you go outside. So if you attack the outside, he's just going to widen, keep you in front of him, stay right on your hip, and then you're going to break to the inside. What I would do is, because he's head up, we kind of have a two-way go opportunity. I could take an inside release or an outside release. I would attack him, see how he's going to play me, and then hit him with a crossover. But the main thing is you want to close the space between the two of you on this specific coverage. So that's how you would run the slant. You'd want to attack him, give him the 1-2, and then go. Now, why is this important? Why do we need to know this? Because when you guys are in a game, things are moving fast. Everything is moving incredibly fast, and you got to have a plan. You cannot go into a game and be like, oh, well, I'll just read what he does. You're not going to be able to think that fast, especially if you're in a no-huddle offense that likes to go fast. You're going to panic out there, and you're just going to end up running a lazy route and be covered. You got to have a plan going in, and that's through film study and knowing these techniques and knowing, okay, for these routes, I'm going to do this. Now, let's talk about the next route, right? So what was the next route that we talked about? We talked about a corner route, right? So if I got a man coverage guy, but he's head up, like I said before, I have a two-way go. I could either take the inside release or I could take the outside release, right? So what I would do is ideally, for an outside breaking route, you want to take the outside release, right? So what would you do? If he's inside shade like so, or if he's not inside shade, excuse me, if he's head up, we want to work him to the inside. I want to close the distance with him, just like I talked about, close the distance, and then maybe give him a crossover back to the inside now, right? So maybe I get him to keep the leverage to the inside. I try to get him to jump to the inside. Then I can take the outside release, work to restack, and then go. So that's how you guys would go about that plan. Okay, so now the last route that I wanted to talk about here was going to be that post route. So we have post route, corner route, and slant route. So now post route, for example. So for a post route, now what you could do on this is, because ideally, what do you want to take? You want to take the inside release on a post route. So it's very similar to a slant route. You would just go at him, maybe a quicker tempo now, give him a move, take the inside release and work to restack and run that post. So that's what you guys have to understand about this, fellas, is that you got to understand how to look at the DB. How is he playing? How do I structure my plan? All 3 of those releases look pretty dang similar, and that's what we have to do to be successful. So we could play at full speed. I mean, it'd be good to kind of see what he does, I guess. And you see, he closes the space with this guy, and that DB starts to shade to the outside. So maybe he's playing like a cover one look, but we got to make sure we fight hands so something like this doesn't happen. But it's always good to study film, always good to study this guy's tendencies. Now we're going to get into another defensive coverage look. But before we get into this next look, fellas, with an outside shade coverage DB, outside leverage, press coverage, I want to talk to you about a great opportunity we are offering this offseason. We are traveling out to 9 different cities across the United States for 2-day quarterback wide receiver camps. Okay, so we're going to be coming out to Phoenix, Arizona this weekend, February 19th and 20th. That camp only has 2 spots remaining. Then we're coming out to Houston, Texas, Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys are local to one of those 9 cities and would love to get some work in with us, check out that very first link in the description below, fellas. What we do at these camps, they're not like regular camps. Like, we actually teach you, if you screw up, we're going to tell you what you're doing wrong. If you make a mistake, we're going to tell you how to correct the mistake. So many camps do it incorrectly. They have 50, 60 kids per group, and it's just, you're going too fast. There's no coaching being done, and that's not how you get better. That's not how the game of football is played. The receiver position, the quarterback position, everything is so detailed. So for each camp, we're limiting spots to only 10 guys, 10 to 12 guys per position group, per age group, and we're actually going to coach you on every rep, help you get better, because we have you for 2 full days, 4 hours each day. And then for an hour of each day, we're going to have DBs out there for you guys to work on one-on-ones, half-line concepts, 7-on-7 concepts, and the work. So if you guys want some more information on that, or are local to one of these 9 cities, or want to travel out and get some work in with us, we always appreciate it. Very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. So now, the second clip that we're taking a look at here is an outside shade press coverage DB. So how do you structure the plan, right? What do you think about? Because remember, we have a slant route, and then what we have a corner route, and then we have a post route. Okay, so how would I structure the plan against this? So if I have to run a slant route and this DB's outside shade, well, you got to think about the type of slant too as well, right? Because like maybe you're an RPO heavy team. Maybe we're gonna treat it like a regular quick slant, but maybe you're an RPO heavy team. Maybe you got to have a little tempo to it. Maybe you got to add a few things. But if he's outside shade, something you could do would be maybe a wide step release, right? So I take a wide step release to the outside. I hold his leverage because he's outside shade for what reason? We talked about this briefly in the other clip. He's trying to force me to the inside. He has help over there. There's probably a 1 high safety, and not to mention the receiver's split is cut down, or he is a slot wide receiver. I'm not sure what's on the outside of him here, but when his split is cut down like so, that DB is expecting an outside breaking route. He's expecting us to do an outside release because anytime that a wide receiver cuts the split down, that chances are he's doing that so he could use the sideline, so he could use that space that he created with his split. So that's how we have to think about it. So if I have to run a slant, let's hit him with a wide step to the outside, kind of keep his leverage there. I burst back to the inside. I either work to get to 3 steps or I just go. Maybe it's a 1-step slant and I just have to go right now. But we want to attack his outside leverage to keep him there. Now, the one that everybody loves to ask about is a corner route. So what do you do on a corner route? This is how you have to structure the plan. So when you get into a game, fellas, you know, okay, I've seen this before. This is the route that I have. If I get this look, I'm going to do this. If I get this look, I'm going to do this. You got to have a plan. It has to be structured. So now we have outside shade leverage or outside leverage, and we're running a corner. So what do you think you want to do here? Do you want to get to the outside release, or do you want to take the inside release? You want to make sure that we take the inside release because we have to give space to the quarterback to lead me. When it's man coverage, the ball is going to be put with some air. So what do I have to do here? I want to attack his leverage to the outside. I could do like a triple step move. I could do another wide step move. I could do maybe a split release, give a little head fake outside, but we take the inside release. And that's what this receiver does, right? So he hits him with that little split release, takes the inside move, and now you see he's got a ton of space to that sideline for the quarterback to lead him. If he were to force the outside release, that DB does not want to give up the outside. He'd get right into his hip, wall him to the sideline, and you'd have no space to go. So that's exactly what this receiver does. He gives himself space to accelerate and make this play. That is a textbook job running that corner route, okay? So that's what we got to make sure we do with an outside shade guy. Press coverage, have to run a corner. Now, let's talk about this. So now I have to run a post route. So do you think you want to make it look similar to the corner route? Yes. If you think okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing, take the exact same release. Now at the top of the route, instead of maybe doing like a hard cut inside, I'm going to do like a rocker step. I'm going to do a hard cut inside, cut back to the outside, 1-2, and then run that post to make it look like a corner route. Again, when you guys are structuring your plans off the line of scrimmage, it's got to look the same. Everything that you do has to build, because if it doesn't build, you become predictable. If a DB coach picks up on you that, every time he runs a fade route, he does a slide release, Every time that DB sees you do a slide release, he's going to be all over it because his coach told him anytime you see that slide, expect the fade. Now, if you do a slide release, cross him up one time and run a slant, you do a slide, then he sits to the inside, then go fade. That's how we win, and that's how we have to be successful. So for a post route, I would make it look the exact same and switch it up at the top of the route so I could get some more separation, all right? So let's watch this thing again full speed, and then we'll get to the last clip that we're going to look at, and then we'll be good with this video, fellas. Just make sure that we do not force the release and know what kind of look that we are walking into. So this is the zone coverage look, right? So we get a lot of people ask us about, hey, coach, how do I run routes against zone? How do I read zone coverage? And it's pretty simple when you get the hang of it. But when you get a coverage like this, a couple things you got to know, right? So he's outside leverage. When it's zone, it applies just like man coverage, fellas. He's outside shade, expecting the outside route because we're on the top of the numbers. But again, he's like kind of in that like bailout stance where he turns his front hip, right? You see that pre-snap. So how would you run a slant? You just run the slant. Not a big deal on the slant route. A lot of people ask like, hey, coach, do I need to do a release when he's off coverage? No. You need to get up into the route and just go. Now, how do I run a corner route against this coverage, right? So what do you think you might want to do? You might want to maybe attack the inside shoulder as hard as you can. And then if he's playing this thing well, maybe you slip back underneath. You'll probably have to run like a box corner if you're from the outside receiver position where you take inside 5, up 5, break 10, or break it like 10, I would say. So like, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like that play in Madden. Everybody knows this play in Madden where it's like corner strike where you go in, up, then back out. It's pretty similar to that. They call it a box corner, right? So for that box corner, that's probably what you would do here, but you want to attack the inside shoulder, get him to flip his hips, and you're either going to break back underneath him or you're going to restack over the top. It's kind of what Cooper Kupp does here. He's running a 10-yard out, but it's the same concept. You see how he attacks the inside shoulder, hits him with a little fake there, and is able to slip back underneath. Same idea if it was a corner, you just take a different 45-degree angle, or maybe if that DB kind of sat down a little bit and your corner was deep, you'd work to restack, right? So you just got to make sure that we have a plan. You got to know how deep the corner is that you're going to be working that week and structure your plan there. Now, let's say you had to run a post against this coverage, right? Zone coverage where he bails. What do you want to make every single route look like? You want to make every single route look like a fade. So if you're running a post route and it's against zone coverage, you want to make it look like a fade. So how would you run a fade route against this type of coverage? You would go at him, you give him a little fake to the inside. They call it a vertical set, a little head fake, and then you'd slip back around him to try to get back to this like blind spot, if you will. So when you have an inside breaking route against this zone coverage, you want to threaten the blind spot. So when you come off at him, I would go at him, give him a little head fake inside, a little rocker step back to the blind spot, try to force him to widen because he doesn't want to give up the fade, and then I would go run the post. Just like off man coverage, just like regular man coverage, he's outside shade for what reason? Trying to force you to the inside. So if we threaten him to the outside and we widen him, that will create more separation from me from him, and for me from the safety. So we got to make sure, fellas, the reason behind this video is so you guys know how to structure your plan, know how to watch film, and how to approach the game like a route running technician, not just a receiver who gets a play call and then just goes and runs the route. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Cooper Kupp, threatening him to the inside shoulder and running this out route. Same principle would apply for that corner route that we were discussing today. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave that in the comment section below. I always appreciate the feedback from you guys. It's always great hearing from you guys, and any video suggestions is always much appreciated. And again, fellas, if you're local to one of these 9 cities or would like to travel out for one of our off-season 2-day-long camps in Phoenix, Houston, Newark, these 3 are almost completely sold out, fellas, especially our Newark camp. That's a month away, and we only have about 5 spots remaining. And then we're coming to Atlanta, Columbus, Chicago, Dallas, Nashville, and Los Angeles. So if you guys want some more information on that, want information on how you can sign up, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.